Okay, so let's say you've decided to take the plunge and you're going to buy yourself a project car, or you're going to get into flipping cars, or maybe you're even just working on your daily car. One of the problems that you're going to face constantly as a newbie, and I know this because this is something I'm experiencing myself right now, and also any friends that I've had or anyone that I've known that's just started working on cars also faces this same problem, and that is the constant stop-start nature when you're waiting for parts. It can be a royal pain in the butt, right? So let me give you an example. So I'm working on my mini engine. This is from an R53 Mini Cooper S. So one of the jobs that I'm doing is the timing chain replacement, which is in this part of the engine. Now I actually started this job 3 days ago and I'm nowhere near there. I still haven't even taken off the rocker cover, and that's because you see these studs here, I didn't have a socket deep enough, so I had to go and buy a brand new socket that is deep enough to get into there. Okay, but that's not too much of a deal. That particular store was just around the corner for me. It took me all of 15 minutes to get there and back with the new part. Fine. But you don't always just have the store right around the corner from you. Take this part, this bolt here. This is a new crankshaft pulley bolt for these engines. And I've had to wait 3 days for this to turn up, from knowing that I needed it to today. So the whole job has been put on hold for 3 days just because I didn't have this one single bolt. And here's the crucial thing with this, right? That I could have avoided all of these problems if I'd have spent quite literally, I don't know, 30 minutes max, maybe even 45 minutes just up front to know exactly what tools or parts that I'm going to need. You see, whenever you get onto a job like doing the timing chain, especially on a model that's older, this is a 2006 car, is that you'll find there are multiple guides online tell you exactly how it should be done. And it would have taken me, for this particular job, it would have taken me, what, 5 minutes maybe, just to work out exactly everything that's needed. I mean, this is, for instance, this is to service a supercharger, which is actually quite a niche job. I found these instructions and it tells you step by step exactly what tools and what parts that you need to complete any of these jobs. And I can guarantee that's going to be pretty much the same for almost any car that you've got. You're going to be able to find some kind of manual or someone who's been here before that will tell you exactly what you need. So if I'd have done this, if I'd have just done the first 30 minutes, 45 minutes of just researching exactly what tools I need, but not just that, but just, you know, for instance, you know, looking at these bolts, you know, it would have taken me 2 minutes to come over here to pick up the deep socket that I do have, put it on, realise that doesn't fit, and I'm going to have to go and get another one. You know, and there might be some of you saying, well, you know, my local mini garage is only 5 minutes down the road, I could have got any of these parts. I couldn't get this from my local mini garage, so I had no option but to buy it online. Yeah, and this took 3 days to turn up, so I've been kind of like twiddling my thumbs just waiting around, and it is tiring, it's boring, especially if you're an enthusiast and you're doing this, you know, in between work or at the weekend. You know, you might have dedicated a whole weekend to getting a load of work done on your car, get there, start, only to realise that, oh, I didn't think of that, oh, I don't have that part. And I'm just here to tell you that it can all be avoided by just putting in a little bit of prep right at the very beginning and working out everything that you're going to need before you undo one single bolt. And there's always going to be things that are unexpected that crop up, fine. But I can tell you right now, from experience and from other people, a lot of these things that do crop up could have been prevented. So anyway, that was my quick tip for the day. Morning. This morning I am making a start on the timing chain replacement. So really I'm just going to start with, I've got to take the rocker cover off, the plugs out, not the plugs, but the what's-its, these things. I'm going to have to remove this mount, remove a load of this hardware that's all on here. So that's the belt tensioner, idler pulley and the crankshaft damper. Take that off, take the plate the cover off, so the timing chain cover behind that, this piece of metal here, and then we should have access to the internals. So I'm just going to make a start. Okay, hold on a second, wait, this is silly. I've jumped way ahead of myself here. I really should be taking the rocker cover and associated parts off first. Okay, so remember for the video that that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, oh, it has it written on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to remember how they line up on the coil packs there. So it says it's got the numbers. So actually, I can just pull them out and not worry about it. There's going to be a bare engine soon. There's almost nothing left on it. I might get into engine building. What do you reckon? No, I think we'll leave that for a later date. You're right. So I'm going to have to take these two kind of like ears off. So I took this ear out. I had to use this massive long piece just to get in there, and the bolt itself is actually stuck in. I had to kind of wind the whole ear off with the bolt still attached, so I'm going to have to see if I can get this bolt out. Probably going to leave it just soaking in some penetrating oil or something for a little while, see if that does the trick. Now I'm going to move on to these rocker cover bolts. But I don't know if you can see those. They are, well, some of them are pretty corroded, this one. So I'm a little worried. These ones on the back, they're fine. That one is a little worse for wear. This one in here is definitely worse for wear. So I'm just gonna have to be very careful. Maybe use a smaller socket, hammer it on just to get those off. Oh God, that just rounded immediately. Oh God. Let's get a smaller bit. Oh, a smaller bit's not going to go on. This is already turning into a nightmare. Okay. That's okay. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, look at the state of that. I think what I should do really is just replace these, because I want to do everything as well as I can do it on this car. I mean, I know it's starting to cost me the earth, but someone's going to be watching this video and in a couple of years might have to get back in there again, and they're going to curse me for putting these back in. So for the next person, more than anything, and for the fact that I'm probably just going to strip some anyway, I will replace these. Now these back ones aren't so bad. It's just that one so far. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh no. I don't have a deep enough. Oh, I don't have a deep enough 8mm socket. So what I'm going to do now is, the company that I bought the supercharger service kit from, X8R, were kind enough to send out the replacement part that I didn't get in the last video. So this is for the horn on the supercharger. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish up the service on the supercharger. Now I've got this, I'm going to get my instructions on the floor and finally complete an actual job on this car. My set of pics finally turned up that I spent ages in the last video nattering about, so that's going to make what I'm going to do today a whole lot easier. These are incredibly cheap. These are only about a £5. They got really good reviews. Highly recommend US Pro. And obviously I've got no affiliation with US Pro. I've got like 3 subscribers, so don't worry about that. So if you remember from the last video, I'm going to take this horn off now. Or not. And so that's what it looks like inside a supercharger for anyone that's interested. So you can see that the air enters in here, goes up into the supercharger, this is spinning, those scrolls then compress the air, they force the air out of this hole, up into this horn, out here, and then on these engines this sits, you know, like that, sits like that in there. You have the intercooler here which cools the air before it comes down here, down this horn and into the inlet manifold of the engine, and then is forced into the engine. So it's quite a neat solution really, and there's not very many parts to it. So I mean, they say in the instructions to take a look for any damage, but doesn't appear to be any damage to me. Having said that, you can see there's some very light scoring on the edges of the blades there. Now it's not rubbing or anything, I think that's just kind of general wear. But what you can notice, and this is why it's so strange to me that BMW say you don't need to complete a supercharger service. So here's the gasket. If I take that off, you can see the state that this gasket is in, all of these deposits that have built up. I can easily imagine that some of these deposits could get in there, force this seal apart, and this is going to leak air all over the place, but that is not in great condition. That's the new gasket. You can see the difference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up in here, clean up this seal, get a load of this gunk off, put the new gasket on. Okay, so that's all nice and cleaned up. I got right in there inside the horn, right in the end I've cleaned out all of these parts here where the rubber meets anything. I've cleaned out all in there, you can see how nice and shiny that is. So all I need to do now really is just put this horn back on with the new gasket. Okay, nice and torqued down. Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt again because I am so excited. I just had something very jolly turn up in these boxes. Should I tell you now what it is? I mean, if you watched my last videos, you'll probably guess what it is. Let's finish the service on the supercharger and then I want to show you what's in those boxes. I can't wait. It's going to make such a massive difference. Now I actually get to use my beloved new picks. Oh my god, that is so much nicer than using a screwdriver. And then on with the new. 1, 2. Okay, so now using the cool little thingamajigger that they send you. What is these? What are these? It's not a thingamajigger, it's called a syringe. This is some Shell turbine oil. I don't know the actual spec of it, it's just what they send you in the kit. Okay, so then that goes in there, and then like they do on telly, I'm gonna flick it before doing a procedure. Okay, great, and then all I'm going to do is the same the other side. Right, and that is the supercharger serviced. That wasn't too bad at all, actually. And I feel a lot better now knowing that's done. Even though BMW say you don't need to do it, I mean, you do, let's face it, you do need to do it. I'm glad that's done. What I'm not going to do though is now mount it back on the engine, because I'll need access to all of this side still to do the timing chain, and it's just going to be a whole lot easier if that's not actually on the engine. I'm going to show you what's in those boxes. This, ladies and gentlemen, isn't just a gazebo. This is a portable workshop. Now I know it may look like a gazebo, but believe you me, this is as good to me as a workshop. Firstly, it's massive. It doesn't look that big, I suppose, on camera, but I mean, I've got all of this on the grass that is just space that I can't really do anything with. But this really is actually going to change the game for me. It does have walls, I'll put them on later. One of the things about doing all of this work outside is, as you know, I don't have a garage, I don't have a workshop, and I'm completely at the mercy of the elements. And this gazebo now means that I can work pretty much all of the time. I've had to put off lots of different weekends on this project, you know, because it's been raining, it's been, you know, when it's misty and there's just moisture in the air falling. This really does change the game for me. I mean, I know I still don't have a massive amount of space, you know, here to work, but I can just crack on now. I think the only time I'm not going to be able to crack on is if it's like absolutely lashing it down, or, you know, the wind is like particularly bad. But apart from that, this means I can now work just solidly. There need not be any disruptions for me. This is such a game changer. I can't quite put into words. And what's more with this gazebo is that obviously it folds up, it folds down. I can actually put this over the car in its parking space. It's not going to cover the whole car, but it's very easily going to cover one end of the car, and it's very rare that you ever find yourself working on the front and the back of the car at the same time. So it shouldn't really matter. I'll just scoot it forward if I need to work on the front of the car, scoot it back if I need to work on the back. This is great though. This is absolutely brilliant. And I'm also hoping that once I do put the walls on, it's going to be just that little bit warmer for me to work, because it's going to cut out a lot of the wind, which is the thing that I'm most excited about. Oh, look at that. Fantastic. As I keep saying in these videos, you've got to make do with what you've got. Don't have a garage, don't have a proper driveway, it's fine. Do not let little things like that kill your dreams. Motivational talk over. Right, see you in the next one.